Hi, everyone, and I'm Chris McMurray.
And I am Gene McMurray.
He's my husband.
Yes, I am indeed.
And welcome back to another episode of Hope from Grief here on our channel. We're an open book. Hope from Grief came about because one of the major subjects of our book, Live, Laugh, Fly, is the signs that we received from our son Scott after he passed to show us that he was still with us.
When we told our story here on YouTube, we began to realize that there had to be many stories just like ours out there. So we reached out to you folks on social media and asked others to share their stories with our audience.
That's right, and you did, so thank you so much.
So as we build this channel, we're telling both your stories and ours, and we want to reach as many folks as we possibly can. So it's really important to get our subscription count up.
That's right.
Please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot. We would really appreciate it.
Yes, we do. And we want you to know that we read these stories exactly as they come to us because it's your story and your experience with your loved one.
One of the stories that came to us came from a friend, Diana, from Ohio. She tells the story of losing two of her sons.
Yes.
And I'm not going to tell you too much. I'm just going to let Chris read the story, and we'll talk about it when she's done.
That's right. I'm ready. I was feeling down, had an argument with my boyfriend, and was talking to my boys while cleaning up my bedroom. I lost my youngest son, Nick, in 2018 to a drug overdose, forever 29. I lost my oldest, Luke, the same way in 2020, forever 40. I was standing in front of my clock, and I noticed it said 111, and I started to cry. All at once, I felt a grand presence of both of them, each kissing a cheek, and it was so real I had to sit and cry for quite a while. Open up your minds and have conversations with your loved ones often. They're right there listening and wanting to comfort you.
Thank you, Diana, for your beautiful words and the courage of sharing your experience.
It's a heartwarming story, so now let's dig into it a little bit.
Okay, when I first heard her story, it seemed to me that the time on the clock, which was 111, had a significance, and it seemed to set off this whole experience in motion. Do you have any idea what 111 means?
Yes, I do.
Well, why don't you share it with me and enlighten me?
Sure. Some believe that it's a divine sign. The general meaning of angel number 111 is to wake up to a new awareness of the world around you. It's an invisible force that awakens higher consciousness.
So you're saying, as I think Diana is as well, that it's sort of a reminder.
That's right.
A signal to us to be aware of the forces that are surrounding us.
That's right, exactly. Every time you see the number 111, it's a good reminder that you're being guided to pay attention to your thoughts and feelings.
So this particular day, Diana's really having a tough time missing her sons. Then she glances at the clock and sees that very reminder, 111, and she starts to cry. But she seems to be transformed. Her emotions are being changed.
Absolutely. She suddenly felt the presence of both of her boys kissing her cheeks, and she was so overwhelmed by their love.
She even went as far to call it a grand presence.
I know.
She said it was so real that she had to sit down and just cry.
Yeah, I know. I understand that feeling, and there is a lot. It's love, and it's also gratitude that they're there. And I love it that her sons are together. I love that they're together.
That had to give her added comfort.
Yes.
You know, I remember that about a year after our son Scott passed, that you woke me up in the middle of the night to tell me about a dream that you had just had.
That's right. And it wasn't a dream. It wasn't. It was a visitation. It was so real and vivid. I remember every detail to this day. We were as together that night as we ever were in his life.
You know, I think at the time of that incident, we were still in grief counseling, and you shared it with our grief counselor, and his comment was that those visitations are not uncommon at all.
Right.
You know, our loved ones come to us in many different ways, but always lovingly showing us that we're all right.
That's right. And I'm just happy for Diana that she experienced that too. And her boys coming to her at that moment, it gave her much comfort.
So much so that she was willing to share it with us and our audience.
I also love her takeaway from the whole experience.
Her last comment was to open up your minds, have a conversation with your lost loved ones, and do it often.
That's right. I agree with her. I do that all the time. I still talk to Scott every day.
That is what our whole channel is about, and particularly this segment, Hope from Grief. The fact that our loved ones are near and they want us to give us comfort.
But like Diana says, we must be open to their help and presence. Diana, thank you so much for your story and your openness. We appreciate you discussing that both of your sons were lost to drug overdoses.
That's an affliction that faces so many families, including
ours.
including our own.
That's
So
right.
we can relate to the horrors of addiction. I think many others can as well.
Absolutely. And so often it's a problem that's kept behind closed doors and seldom discussed. So thank you for opening up about a very real problem.
So that brings us to the close of another episode of Hope from Grief. It's amazing how good can come from such tragedy.
Well, helping each other and creating something positive, that's how we honor our loved ones, and it helps us to move forward.
So very true. So Chris, why don't you tell the folks one more time all about our book?
That's right.
There it is again.
Live, Laugh, Fly is available on Amazon, and 100% of proceeds will help benefit children's cancer programs.
In closing, we know there are other stories out there that we'd love to hear, or maybe you just have a comment on what we're doing here on the channel, and we can be reached in several different ways. The first is by email. Our email address is rememberloveneverdies@gmail.com.
Or you can go onto our Facebook page, which is called We're an Open Book, and you can leave a comment there also. And we'll post all of that on our show notes, as well as where you can get Live, Laugh, Fly.
And the last way to reach us is probably the simplest. Just leave us a comment on our Facebook page.
Absolutely.
Not on our Facebook page, down below on our YouTube page.
We can do that.
So that's a wrap, sweetie.
Sure is. But one more thing.
What's that?
Always remember.
Love never dies. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.